What's up, everybody? This is Tim Blast. We are doing a BlastCast
EP5
with my boy Eric here. Eric, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what do you do and what are you all about?
Hey guys, what's up? I'm EricTheGreat. I'm a trap rapper out of Denver, Colorado. I'm in the music industry. I'm in broadcasting, podcasting. I like to hit up other people's shows. I'm in the middle of dropping a new EP here shortly, so check that out. I'm still trying to come up with the name. It might just be after my other EPs, Suburban Savage Part 1 and Suburban Savage Part 2. I might do a Part 3. So that's what I'm all about. I'm out of Denver, Colorado. I make music and I'm looking to network with anyone I can. I've been having a lot of producers and a lot of people on my show as well. And we've been doing a lot of music episodes, trying to build a network with other people and, get other cameramen in and get just like a whole team together.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? So this industry is all about networking and meeting all the new people around. And, you never know when the next opportunity is going to come in, right?
Right, exactly. And I saw your show too. And I was seeing like stuff that you guys were talking about too, just like how you guys are just like strictly with music and how much like how into it you are. Like you read music, you write music, right? Like you're not just like
I would say that I can read music. I don't necessarily write music.
Right.
The way I produce is it's all in Cubase. So I'm using orchestral libraries basically.
Nice.
So I have a Keylab 88, so my MIDI controller, and I just I have a big ass template in Cubase with all the orchestral elements and all the hybrid stuff and all the different genre instruments basically, and I just kind of go from there. I don't necessarily I can read music a little bit, but I'm not professionally trained to be a composer. I didn't go to school for it. I know like a bunch of my friends went to school for it, and they'll always make fun of me because they give me a bunch of pages with music on it, and I can barely read it slowly.
I know my friends do the same thing because a lot of my friends are producers and sound engineers and are really even video editing people and stuff like that. And I've learned a lot through them, but they've all gone, not all of them have gone to school, but most of them, I would say probably 75% of them have gone to school for it. And they kind of always give me a little bit of crap here and there because sometimes I don't even know what they're talking about. We'll be in the studio and they're talking about BPMs and hertz and all this stuff, and I'm looking at them like they're crazy. I'm like, what? And they look at me like, dude, and you're kind of a producer, because I make beats and stuff here or there too. So they look at me like, dude, you're kind of like a producer and you're in this industry and you have no idea what we're talking about. I always get weird looks from them as well. I always get a little bit of shit.
I always think that you don't necessarily need to have the go to school for it, as long as you learn the software and you have this musical sense and you kind of know what you're doing, then you're good to go. Because I started with nothing. I had no musical training at all. So I had to learn really quick when I got my first gig.
You're playing how many instruments do you play? Because I was listening to that podcast with DJ Slava. How many instruments do you play? Because I'm pretty sure you're pretty musically inclined.
Yeah, so I play guitar, drums, bass guitar if you can count that, piano, flute, whistle, a little bit of violin. What else do I play? Kalimba if you can count that shit.
Dude, I'll count a ukulele, bro.
Ukulele, okay, yeah, I got a ukulele right there.
God damn.
Let's see what else is in the room. I said drums already. Yeah, so 10, yeah.
So, and you never went to school for anything. You never.
Nah. I'm a big nerd, bro. I spent a lot of time, with instruments. When I started playing, I started playing when I was 14, and I would spend 8 hours a day practicing guitar.
Oh man!
And it just it went from guitar to piano, and then just I kept learning new instruments over and over.
See,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Continue.
No, go ahead.
So I've heard that if you can play piano, that you basically have a lot of roots that you can play any instrument, not any instrument, but you can basically pick up on any instrument. If you can play piano, you could probably do basically, basic drums, guitar, maybe a little bit of orchestra, depending on how fast it's really going. Well, I've heard you can catch melodies really good if you play piano.
I kind of have it I did it in the opposite way. So I started with the guitar. So so my way of thinking is if you can play guitar, then you can play anything. So I guess it goes like this. As long as you one instrument well enough, then you'll be able to pick up other instruments, easier. It's the same thing with languages. You speak one language, you learn the second one, the third one is always easier. you know.
Yeah, see, I need to learn another language. Music is another language, bro. All
I know
around,
it is, yeah.
Learning the softwares and all that. So I heard, do you do like video editing and a lot of stuff along those lines as well?
Well, I edit my own videos. I mean, I'm not that good at it, obviously, because I mean, if you look at my videos, they kind of suck. But I play around with After Effects and Premiere and DaVinci Resolve, like those programs.
Yeah. So I had another question too. I'm sorry. So I know you live out in LA, and you're kind of in this industry. Was there ever like a financial worry about your career? Because I know this industry, a lot of it is entrepreneurial. It's all you just have to be dedicated. It's not a 9 to 5 type of gig, you know?
Oh, well, all the time, man. Even right now, dude, there's like nothing happening right now. So it's like, I mean, I'm barely like hanging on to like the little gigs that I can get right now. But I mean, it's like I was fortunate enough to work on a couple like big studio films. Well, not big, okay, like medium studio films. So I'm still getting like royalties coming from them because they're on Netflix and Hulu and stuff. So I guess
really?
I'm kind of like secure in that way, but it's still not, because Los Angeles is like, it's a pretty expensive city to live in.
Oh yeah, it's like Colorado, man.
Yeah,
it's actually worse than Colorado.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as like San Francisco, but still, it's like, it's a freaking rodeo here, man. It's like you gotta catch your bulls quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So what were you working on? What were you doing for them?
Oh, music, yeah. So I do, music for films.
Music for that's actually really cool.
Yeah. So like orchestral music.
What systems do you work on, like Logic or Pro Tools?
Cubase.
Cubase. What is that? Like, what is it based after? A lot of the systems, they kind of run not off each other, but they look alike. Like Logic looks like Pro Tools. Ableton kind of looks like Fruity Loops.
It's basically the one. It's kind of like Logic, but for PC. You know how Logic is mostly for Apple. Yeah. So that's the way I can explain it. It looks like Logic a little bit, but I like Cubase more because I run my template in a weird way. I have two computers running. I have a server computer and I have like the main computer with all my music shit. So the server computer is feeding all the libraries, like orchestral instruments and stuff, to the main computer. So Cubase is the only program that can like handle it completely. Like I tried it in Logic, I tried it in Pro Tools, they don't handle it. Like Cubase is the only software that can do it.
Oh man. See, so how is Cubase? How would you prefer? Because I'm in the market for new softwares.
Yeah.
Because I just need to upgrade and update. I'm gonna go get me a new PC and get that built and have my brother like build it and overclock it and do all that stuff to it. So what would you rather have? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have some of these other softwares, like even like price wise? Because I know with plugins and subscriptions and with renewals and all that stuff, it can get like really up there. So I'm always just looking for an extra ear on good.
Well,
softwares.
for me, Cubase is perfect. It's like $99 a year, I think.
Oh wow. Okay, that's nothing.
And yeah, it's not that bad, I mean, I think Pro Tools is the same, right? Isn't Pro Tools $99 a year?
Oh, I haven't looked at that in a minute. Is that?
I think so.
Is that just for like the?
Well, it's basically
the rental with the updates, not necessarily. Just thing. Okay.
Yeah, the way it works with Pro Tools, I think you pay $99 a year for the subscription, but with Cubase, you pay it like once, and then every year there's an upgrade for $99 basically.
Oh, nice.
They're doing this shit like where they upgrade the software. A new version comes up, and then the upgrade price is $99.
Nice.
So it's not too bad. And all the VSTs and like the plugins. I'm using actually. Are you familiar with Universal Audio?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so it's basically a audio interface, and it comes with a bunch of plugins that run from the interface, not from your PC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pricey, to be honest. It's like $3,000, but but it's helping me out a lot because like my projects are huge. I sometimes have 300 tracks in one thing going at the same time, so I have to have like a really powerful PC, and
you have to have a lot.
Yeah, so like that shit here, like it helps a lot with the load, CPU load.
Yeah, but 300 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, what
sometimes
are you recording? Like, jeez.
Well, it's a bunch of MIDI shit. It's like imagine orchestra, but like on a computer. So in an orchestra, there's like what 30, 40 people.
Oh,
But
okay,
on a
that's
computer,
true.
it's like, in an orchestra, like the violin player is playing like long notes, but in computer, that's going to be one instance. So it's like long notes, short notes, legato, whatever. Like they're all different
Yeah,
articulations.
you gotta do doubles, probably
Yeah,
do
like
some,
doubles and
some
triples
layering.
and yeah.
Okay, cool. Because
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's a lot. I don't
It's
even
a
know
lot,
if
bro.
I've ever seen that many tracks. Because I mean, I'm also a rapper, so my tracks, I just have the beat, and I mean, of course, I have the files to the beat, so that takes up more slots and stuff, of course. But
Yeah.
even after that, I do, 3 layers for my hooks, 2
Hmm.
layers for my verses, and then I might do a layer of ad libs and an intro. So realistically,
Yeah.
that's maybe like 20 tracks.
Yeah.
Like
I mean
maybe.
that's a normal thing to have. Yeah. Like I've spoken to a lot of producers that do hip hop and rap, and usually it's like within 30 tracks is the perfect amount,
See, how do
because
you
you don't really
even
need more.
how do you not lose all those I mean, not lose them necessarily, but when you're going through it and going through the software, how are you labeling it? How are you numbering all this? Like, how do you know what's what at this point? How do you know if
Yeah.
you're turning that effect on that one, but you left it off on the other one, and you just have to go through all these tracks?
Well, it's more like, I guess I'm so used to the template. I know exactly where things are, and I have like a color code. So like the strings
Okay.
are yellow, the brass is whatever brass color. Drums are green and stuff. So like I kind of know where the things are, and I just like scroll back and forth and just look for stuff.
Yeah.
And because it takes a while to build a track with 300 instruments. So like by the time you build that track, you already know where the stuff is.
Oh yeah.
Just like memory wise, because it
And
takes like 30 hours to build that shit.
I had this other
Yeah.
question because I listened to it on your last episode, the South Korean software. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
what is that necessarily? You said was that the AI one that you were
Yeah,
talking about?
Yeah, there's a South Korean are trying to fuck with us, man. It's like they're building an AI that will compose music for you. So you'll like, how you have Instagram filters, right?
Yes.
You can kind of like toggle with the things, right? Like with the little faders and stuff.
Right.
So that's how you're gonna like use that AI thing. So you'll set it up to have, for example, like I want a sad track in, I don't know, like Baroque style, like classical music, and it's gonna like compose it with that BPM, like with that specific tempo, whatever, Yeah, it's gonna make the track for you. Which I don't know. I've been looking more into it, and like first I was kind of afraid, but then now I look at it, I'm like, it's not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, it maybe like in 40 years, but not now. They're still too early.
I feel like it's okay. Here's my thing on it. It's gonna work in maybe like certain genres of music,
Yeah.
or maybe in certain types of industries, but you're still gonna need that human touch
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
You
It's
need the
like how you
human
guys are
touch.
saying,
Yeah.
like you can't tell, like the like even what Matt was saying. He's like, you can't necessarily. I mean,
Hmm.
you can make it sad, but you can't get the actual human emotion of it put into there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it'll read the sound of, oh, okay, yeah, it's sad, but if you want to make it like really sad, or like even edit it more and further, they're still going to
Hmm.
need that human touch. So I feel like it might be a waste of money and time, but it might help in some parts, but not
Yeah.
with how much it's going to initially cost.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be used as temp music for, because when you work on films, like when people hire me as a composer for films, right? They usually have an edited film with temporary music in it. Somebody else's music basically, and I
Right.
just need to like go off that music and compose my original music on top of it. So I think that's gonna work for that temporary music. But
Wait, so is that how you get like a lot of your creativity to from the start? I'm sorry, I have a lot of questions because I
yeah,
just
yeah.
see
No,
your
no. Go ahead. Go
podcast.
ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. So
Uh-huh.
I was wondering, like, with the creativity part, because if I were to get like a film or something like that, I mean, I could
Hmm.
probably get the certain cue of the film and be like, I could write off that. But how are you really getting the creativity behind it for like the music in these films? Are you like, how you said they're sending you over a sample track? Are you going off
Yeah.
that most of the time, or are you kind of just feeling it out on your own?
I mean, I try to feel it out on my own. If I'm completely lost and I don't know what to do, then I will probably go off that track. But usually it's like, you watch a film, right? And if you turn off the sound and music off of it, it's kind of easy to compose melodies because you kind of know what's happening. And I mean, I've done it enough that I know what sad sounds like, what happy sounds like, and I can just create this like custom, melody on it. but it's still gonna be sad or happy. And it's, I don't know. It's just like, I guess I'm so used to sometimes using like cliche methods, you know, when I compose, you know, because like sometimes I get works that, you know, I have to compose like 70 minutes of music in like 2 weeks or something, right? And that's a lot. Yeah, like imagine. So sometimes I have to be quick. So I have to like use my tricks that I have already learned from years of doing this. So I just do it automatically in a way, you know. So there's like
do you ever keep like hook samples in there to like help you with the process?
Nah, not hook samples. I don't. Yeah, because that's more of a. I guess I get what you're thinking. It's more of a trap thinking, right? Like, you know, like hip hop thinking, like you have the hook samples. Nah, with the composing for film, I usually just kind of like go from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have, you know, all the instruments in front of me all the time, so it's kind of. I guess it's easy to just pick up an instrument and just start doing stuff. You know, like, and I feel like the less time I have to work on a project, the better I can work on it. Because I'm such a procrastinator. Like you know, if I have a lot of time on something, I'm never gonna finish it. You know.
That's how I feel too. Like when I go into the studio, like I'm going into the studio tomorrow to do some more recordings.
Okay.
But if I have a lot of time, it will just won't get done. But if you give me a week, I'll have it done in a day. I'll write that whole song in like not like necessarily the whole 24-hour span. It'll take me probably a couple hours to write the lyrics and really get it keyed in. And then after that, I'll go back and tweak it like a couple hours later. But if you give me like a short time limit, I'll get it done. But if you're giving me a long time limit, I'm going to schedule all these podcasts in the middle. I'm going to schedule all these research where I have to sit down and buckle down and research like affiliate marketing and, you know, do research to build my website and all this stuff. So it's like, if you give me that time, it might not get done because some other priorities are taking over right now, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I am too. Like if I have too much time, then I'm probably just gonna sit and watch TV instead of doing that.
Yeah, I might watch, you know, Shameless on Netflix or something.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, let's see. So I got a question for you. So when did you start, like, you know, your music career? Like, how old were you?
So okay, so I did honestly. So to give you a little bit of background, I didn't I was like a metalhead, you know, like screamo, metal type of music until I was probably like 17, 16, roughly around there. I started listening to hip hop, the newer hip hop. I liked some of the old, you know, early 2000s stuff, but wasn't really too much into it. So I started when I was like a junior in high school. I started listening to hip hop. After my senior year is when I started actually getting into music, and I started, you know, writing. And then I just hung out with a different group of people, and one of them ended up being a rapper and kind of knew how to produce a little bit. So it wasn't it wasn't good, but it set me on the right path. And I definitely have built so many connections since then. Like I just, ever since I met him, I randomly at a party met a whole like record label and started working with them a lot. And one of the dudes that like ran it was like my best friend. We built studios all the way like around. We had like 4 different studios at one point that we could go record at and bust down. We had portable studios that we could bust down and pull up to parties and stuff like that. It was awesome. So that's kind of how I really started getting into the music industry with all that.
Yeah. So you basically kind of started from a background first, right? Like with all the studio stuff, and then you moved to being an artist, right?
So how I guess kind of I when I first started with the music, I was more money driven, more, you know, I didn't want to make as much. I just thought, you know, you can make this one thing and have it ride, you know, like just kind of throw an EP and let it ride and, you know, market it and just go out and do shows and this, but it didn't really work like that. So at that point, when I started really getting into it and recording, I was in the studio 4 times a month, like 4 times a week doing recordings and making beats, you know, just having fun, getting drunk with friends, doing stuff like that. And that's when I really started working. That's when we started actually like building and investing. So like I started investing with Millennia Records. I started investing with the Duke Caro that was running. I was investing in, you know, new equipment, new software stuff, you know, new stuff for auto tunes, new effects, new plugins, new mics, new paddings, all that stuff. So that's when I started really getting into it. And then I actually found like the love for music and the actual love for like the software and like how to actually produce it and make it.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah, it's funny how like I get a lot of questions from people that want to start out in music industry, and they're like, so when can I have the big hit? I'm like, well, you need to learn the software, then you need to invest money in the mics and stuff, studio time, and you have to like go through 3 years of like trying to make a good song. You know, write like 150 songs, like none of them are good, like, and then you're gonna have a good song. Yeah. And then people are like, oh man, I don't want to wait 3 years, I want to be like successful now. I mean, for some people it happens within like a year, but usually it takes time. Yeah
definitely. So, and that's how I thought it was. I was really ignorant with how I was thinking going into the music industry. Like I said, I was money driven. I wasn't necessarily driven by, you know, the lyrics or the actual music and how it touched me and myself. I was more driven by the money. So that's kind of how I was too. I was like, well, why isn't this happening? Why aren't we doing this and this? I wasn't actually thinking about like, dude, you got to be sad as shit for like 3 years. You got to be depressed. You got to have someone throw margaritas in your face on stage, dude. You got to get spit on a couple times, you know, get beat up in an alley, and you know, maybe
it's definitely
together in a song or two, you know.
I know it's definitely really hard to make it in this business.
It is.
Like I see a lot of people that they try to show off that they actually are doing something, but mostly I don't know. It's just it's kind of weird, especially here in LA. I don't know how it is in Colorado, but in LA there is a lot of wannabes that you know, they post on Instagram all these like beautiful shots and stuff, but in reality they're not doing anything. You know, it's like this weird world that we live in right now. It's kind of like there's a lot of fakery happening. It's so weird.
They're not actually putting in work. They're just getting one of their cameramen or, you know, even their buddy to hold up a camera, take pictures of them looking like they're doing a music video shoot, looking like they're about to go do some work, look like they're going to drop content, but realistically, it's just a clickbait. I see that all the time. I see it all the time.
How is it in Colorado? Like, what's the music scene there? Like, what's like the biggest genre right there over there?
The biggest genre, that's actually kind of hard. It depends. It really, I want to say rap because just like in LA, I'm pretty sure it's so oversaturated out there with, you know, everyone who wants to be a rapper, all the, you know, SoundCloud rappers, the era of SoundCloud rappers, all the stuff like that. So we have that out here too, and you don't hear a ton of music stuff coming out of Colorado because realistically, no one makes it out of Colorado. As in, you know, LA is probably LA and New York, some places like that are kind of more the place you want to be for this industry for sure. Colorado is definitely not. It's really oversaturated with all the people that want to do it, but since no one pops and everyone just like, you know, it's a pyramid. You know, there's steps. You know, you go up in steps, and when someone right behind you that's on your team is like, well, why is he up there and I'm not there yet? They get to, you know, a little bit jealous, and they don't understand that there's like kind of a pecking order in a sense, you know, and they drag them down, and then everyone tumbles down the pyramid and no one makes it out, no one makes it over, you know. So it's like at that point, that's why no one comes out of here. But it's crazy out here. Everyone is a SoundCloud rapper, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I mean, I don't really see that happening in LA. Well, also like I guess because I'm really you know, introverted, I guess, in a way that like I don't really go to a lot of gatherings where like a lot of musicians go to. I mean, I go to like music parties and stuff, but like not a lot. So I don't really meet a lot of musicians out here. Only if it's like I know somebody out here. But I don't really notice this in LA. Like I know there's competition, but everybody's kind of trying to. That's the thing I like about LA. Everybody's kind of trying to help each other, but also like feed off each other, which is it's just like a weird concept. I remember when I moved here, the biggest thing in LA is like name drops. So it's like if you know there's like one person that might know you, might not know you, but if you start name dropping, like people will respect you for some reason. Like, is that a thing in Colorado or no?
Kind of. I don't see it too much because like at the same time, like my friends and, you know, the people that I've met through the industry are the ones that I wouldn't say they, you know, drag me out of my house to go to events and stuff with them, but I'm not necessarily, since I stopped drinking and stopped partying and did all that a while back, I'm not that dude that, oh, let's go out, you know, let's go net. We're like, you know, all pumped and stuff. I'm like, no, let's sit at home and chill and, you know, watch the UFC fights and drink a ginger ale and maybe smoke a joint or something, you know, something relaxing. I don't go out. So my friends are the ones that have to drag me out too, to like go do stuff. Like, I don't want to go to this random party who is someone I just met who, you know, is another rapper and go meet this friend. Nah, I got to like know you if you want me to come, or you got to come and like drag me out of my house and be like, yo, you don't got a choice type of ordeal with me.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I am too. It's like I just go to those like little music parties that I know somebody big is gonna be there, and I might have a chance to like talk to him or her, whatever. But if not, then I'm probably not gonna go because it's like so it's always ends up in people doing a lot of drugs and get a little drunk and nothing productive happens.
Exactly, dude. See, that's why I don't go out to a lot of these parties either. I mean, even bars or just go out. I'll go out with friends, play some pool or do some stuff like that. Or I might go, like last night I went to a party after I did a podcast, and I went to hot tubbing, and after podcast, hot tubbing, then I went to a party. And I don't usually do that, but I was just bored. I knew some of the people there, and realized all the drugs started getting busted out, which I don't care if you do cocaine or whatever, do whatever you want, but I'm not gonna sit there, and especially since I don't drink, I'm not gonna sit there and just like watch you guys get hammered and just do drugs and all that. Like, it's after 20 minutes of it, it's not appealing at all. Like, I don't really care. And if that's all we're doing is sitting around a table at this point and just talking nonsense,
I know,
especially people that are on hard drugs, it's just like it might be a little bit interesting what they're saying, but none of it's productive. It's not going anywhere. It's not beneficial. It's like this is just bull crap. You're just blowing smoke around.
Yeah, it is. How's the COVID-19 situation over there? Like, is anything closed?
It kind of like they open, like everything's open. I mean, most of everything is pretty open, but there's a lot of restrictions. Like even restaurants are open, but they only a certain amount of people can be in there. They spread you apart. You can still, the bars are open, but they close at like 11 p.m. or super early, and you still have to wear your mask. But it's weird. Even so, some shows have been opening up too, not a whole lot. So I went to the Mishawaka Theater for the show Right Minded, and Mishawaka is up in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's like a little bit past there. It's like it's an outdoor theater. It's kind of like, some people compare it to Red Rocks. I necessarily wouldn't compare it to Red Rocks, but I guess it's maybe kind of cool, but not that cool. And they had a couple shows there over the COVID-19, and they made sure everyone was like super far apart from each other, had masks on and all this stuff. And we were there for the Right Minded show. They're also playing, it was for originally like the firefighters. We had fires out here up in Fort Collins, those massive forest fires, but just like fires that were going on. So the firefighters were doing like a charity event. So they had a bunch of like hot chicks, like models and stuff, do like a lingerie showcase. And our buddies Right Minded performed that showcase there. And it was really cool. I mean, it was a little weird because, it wasn't the same feeling that you get when you go out to a show, everyone, not necessarily skin to skin, but, just you're far away from people. It's not as much meet and greet with other people or artists or models or whoever it may be.
That's funny. Yeah, that's kind of how it is in LA too. Like, things are slowly opening up. I know finally they started making movies again. Like, they're I see more and more movie sets in the town, just like shooting stuff. So hopefully I'll get some gigs soon, once they start producing more stuff. But yeah, like it's been so weird. I thought that this thing is only going to last for like a month at most, and then it just kept going and going and going and going, this quarantine thing. It took forever.
It was because, see, as you see, like in other countries too, like how when the COVID thing came, a lot of them did the proper shutdown and shut down like literally everything. And we're like, do not even come outside your house type of ordeal. And, within a month and a half, you saw a lot of progress. Yeah, they were still getting, a little bit of spikes here and there, but for the most part, it died off in a lot of these countries. And it's because they followed the proper protocols. And they weren't, a lot of Americans were ignorant. A lot of us are. And, the ones that are just walking around like, I'm not going to wear a mask. No one's going to tell me what to do. This is the election of infection. Like, this isn't real. It's like, dude, just wear your mask, bro. We could all be over this and everything. I put it like this because people are like, everything's closed. I can't do anything. Everyone's butt hurt. And I'm like, dude, it's just like you're sick. You're like a 16-year-old. You're broke. You're in high school. You're grounded. You can't do anything. Just do that for 30 days. It's gonna be okay. Like you're fine. But no one wanted to do that, and that's why everything is shifting up and down. And places are reclosing, opening. Businesses are going out. All of that crazy stuff.
It's crazy, man. I have a couple friends that lost their businesses, like recording studios, even.
Yeah.
Because I guess like there's a whole thing with the government of California. They just closed down old recording studios, most of the like theaters and stuff where people still recorded stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So once you close them down, like make them go out of business, they actually go out of business because recording studios they're probably renting the place. They don't have money to pay the rent and just like go out of business. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
So you gotta like have your own. You gotta like own the spot, which is expensive, especially out in LA. It's
it's crazy
just
expensive.
The taxes out there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, the taxes are killing me, man, bro.
And
it's
the
like
tax
with
raises. Oh, is that in
it's
LA or is that throughout all of California that they're doing the raises? I'm just like, I heard they're
it's
doing a lot
all
of
the
the
California.
tax raising.
Yeah, it's all California.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
Hopefully they figure it out.
It's the thing is I like living here and there's a lot of opportunities, but it's like it comes with a very, very high cost of like you have to pretty much live as a broke student pretty much to do what you like to do.
Yeah.
In a weird
hard.
way. Yeah, it's hard. So and not a lot of people make it. Even if you make it, you still have to survive, for like 10, 20 years in California. And if you think about it, some people they make like $1 million, right, out of I don't know, like a record sale. I mean, like a record deal, whatever. And $1 million is only gonna last you for like I don't know, 10 years, 15 years, the most here. And then you have to like figure something out. And I don't know. It's just like it's this weird snowball. You have to keep like hustling and hustling, hustling to survive.
Right. And what people don't understand too, especially when, you're making that hit song or whatever, it's not just that and that's it. You got to keep going. And I wouldn't just necessarily take out that money and just be like, all right, now I got $100,000. I'd be like, all right, now I got 10 grand off of this. And all that rest of that 90 is going to go to other reinvestments. Like, you know what I mean? So I can have other things to substitute my income. Because what if, just the COVID thing happened, studios are shut down. I mean, I have home studios and I have a lot of friends that have really nice home studios too, to like do recordings in and all that. So I could still work. But at that point, it's like, I have other incomes. I have other businesses. I don't have to rely on just music. You know what I mean? I can keep going music and have that as a huge income and just have that income be the stream of like all of my businesses basically. Like you shouldn't just do music. Like look at what all these other rappers are doing. Like even Nipsey Hussle, like before he died, of course, like all this stuff he was doing, he was like trying to find cures for diseases and he was working with a bunch of different businesses and real estates and all that. Like a lot of these rappers are doing that. So they're not just relying on music and they're not relying on hood drug deals anymore. They're actually, a lot of them are doing it proper and like trying to get their LLCs. I mean, a lot of them have them already, but LLCs for new businesses and new business models, and not just about they're trying to like better themselves actually.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing you're doing. I mean, I'm also kind of trying to do. I mean, most of my income is coming from music, but I am also doing like some sound engineering here and there, and I do voice recordings sometimes. I do like podcasts right here, like streaming and stuff. So it's you have to do so many different things to stay afloat. Like as I always tell the young musicians that try to get into this business, I always try to tell them like to learn different softwares just in case. Like don't just stick to one thing, don't just stick to one genre, just like try to branch out. Like don't be a closed-minded dumbass. Just like try to like branch out, try to do different things. It will help at some point,
because that's how you open up with a new sound. And I learned that too really quick, because when I first started, like my first 4 tracks, I was like, oh, I just have this one sound and that's cool. And like, no, you can't do that. You're not going to make it anywhere. You have to touch different barriers, because even if you have that one sound, you haven't made any hits yet. You haven't made any dents in that genre yet. So it's like, you got to keep going and figure it out. And not even that, when I started messing with different sounds, it got me to write better, to other genres. It got me to write better. It got me to be more open-minded about, lyrically more open-minded. Like, oh, I could actually say some soft lovey-dovey baby back bull crap on like a trap beat or something, but I had to do it in a certain way. When you start messing with different sounds, you really get the flow of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so you said you were a metalhead, right? Does that influence you in any way right now in your music?
Honestly, like not really. Like I don't even listen to screamo or heavy metal or anything like that anymore. And I honestly, with rap, so for how oversaturated the rapping industry is, I mean, just the music industry altogether, it's hard to even listen to the music. So I have like a select artist that I listen to. I always like, check out new artists and stuff like that. I'm not that ignorant, but I'll check out new artists. But I have like a set artist that I listen to specifically because I don't want to hear this new Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Pump, mumble bumble, Lil Yachty bullcrap anymore. Like, no, and I don't even turn on the radio, bro. If it's the radio, it's got to be like, some old school music, not anything, nothing hip hop, because it's just going to be garbage that comes on. So I'm really in the middle of switching out from like, Blink 182, some 41 sounds, 311 Sublime, and then I'll go to like Don Q, New York, like trap shooter hip hop type of music. So I don't know. I'm really weird with it.
Okay, what are your thoughts on horror trap? Have you heard any horror trap music out there?
What would you consider that?
It's
like
okay,
Suicide Boys.
There we go. Yeah, Suicide Boys.
no, dude, no way.
Bro, I was just listening to like I don't know why my Spotify switched to some horror trap playlist. I'm like, holy crap, that's like a genre I didn't even think it existed.
It's a genre you don't want to know existed. Like as messed up as that is to say, like I can't do their music at all. Like it's really hard. I'm so picky with new music, so picky, just because how everything comes up and how the media is with everything, not necessarily being mainstream, but how they're new. I've noticed every 4 years there's a new wave, there's a new sound into into that genre, in every genre, like especially hip hop. There's a whole new sound. It could be a whole new genre, like trap or mumble rap or whatever you want to call it. It's a whole new sound that just developed randomly, and it's like every 4 years. So I'm trying to capture the sound of what's going to be the next 4 years. It's hard,
that's a gamble, man. That's a gamble. Like you never really know what's gonna happen. Like with
the network.
Yeah, like remember country trap, right? Was a thing. What was that shit? Like the Lil Nas whatever, Country Road, whatever, that Old Town Road. One song, and everybody started doing it, but it never took off as a genre. Like there's so many people jumped into it.
There's a couple big artists like Upchurch Redneck and a couple of other people that like are around his scene and crew. They kind of do country rap, and it's it's horrible, don't get me wrong. I mean,
but
some of it's
Upchurch was doing it before though, right? Wasn't he doing the country rap like for 10-15 years, the Upchurch guy?
I don't know.
I think so, because he's older.
I noticed him like maybe 2018. I kind of noticed him coming up, or no, like 2017. I kind of saw him like, making a social media presence, and it was known. Even like all my friends, and I have like 2,000-3,000 friends on Facebook. We're just sharing all of his stuff, and I was like, oh, so this guy's really like, he's really doing something. And that's when I started listening to it. And I was like, what the fuck? This is a thing. I was like, no way.
I know it's so weird that in LA especially, like everybody thought, okay, country trap, like it's gonna take off, like that's gonna be the next best big thing, whatever. Right. So I was getting a lot of artists that they were trying to like make me produce a country trap for them, like country trap track, and I was just like, what the fuck is country trap? Like, and I was trying to listen to the Upchurch, the Lil Nas, whatever they were doing. And I'm like, dude, this is never gonna take off, and I guess it never really did. Like, it's not the biggest thing now. But so many people, so many producers here, they made a bunch of tracks thinking it's going to take off, but it, I guess, never did. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a big gamble to know, to try to, like, guess what the next big thing is going to be.
Especially when it's, like, a lot of a self-investment type of thing. Like, even for me, I'm not a super huge artist or nothing like that. Like, all my stuff, like, my studio and everything, a lot of it's self-investment. Like, I've paid for a lot of shit. So... knowing that this EP or album or mixtape or whatever is gonna flop, and you're already $3,000 into it, or maybe $2,000 at that point, and you're just like and I've had that too, to where I've released songs where I held on to this song for like a year because I was like, I'm just waiting for the right time, and then here's this new sound that comes in, and now this song is pointless. Like, it's still good, but it's just not gonna do anything beneficial for me. Like, people would still like it and still listen to it, but it wouldn't do anything to really get me out there and heard of.
Yeah, I was talking to this one marketing director that he told me this one really brilliant thing, I remember. Because I used to do that too. Like, I used to hold on to tracks, trying to see like if it's the right time to just post them or not. Right. And that marketing director just told me, just like, it like, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you're not, nobody's going to listen to it. I mean, as long as like you're not a big star, you should just post it. and just try to use it and promote it like at that time, that moment. Because thing is, like, you're kind of like losing on time there, on the momentum. As long as you keep posting shit like every 2-3 days or like every week or something, on social media, whatever, like and making tracks, like, for example, in my case, like, I post 2 or 3 like albums a year on Spotify and stuff. Nobody listens to them, and I don't really care, to be honest, but it's like it does this momentum, and it shows that you are working, like,
you're planting seeds.
Yeah, and it's like, especially for working professionals, like, it shows that you are in business. You're not just like sitting around kicking balls and stuff. Like, you're actually doing stuff, and you put it in the work. So that's all that matters. And then one day it's gonna like blow up. Hopefully, maybe if it doesn't anyway, but like you'll still get some kind of momentum out of it.
Exactly. And see, I'm just trying to get to the point to where, so I work a normal job too, dude. Like, I work for the school district and everything. So I mean, it's good pay and good benefits, pension, retirement, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, that's not what I want to do, bro. Like, I want to get paid through, like, and I'm not saying millions of dollars or nothing like that. If I could get paid a comfortable living wage through music or podcasting, I would take that any day of the week over working a 9 to 5 or a blue collar job any day of the week. You could pay me 60 grand. If I made like 60 grand a year, dude, just doing music and podcasts, I would be content with that, and I would just do that. Honestly. And like, and the thing is, like, how you're saying, building that momentum, even so, say that song or that album or whatever you release doesn't get any views, but you're still working and you're always working and you're building that momentum. It makes you feel better in other areas. It motivates you to do better in other areas. It motivates you to finish on time, finish quicker. It helps you, like, it just makes you happy, so you can catch better sounds, dude. It makes, when everything's in the works, dude, even if it's, you're not getting a contract for $100,000 just yet, it makes it worth it. I mean, it is work, and there's a lot of disappointment that comes with it, but it's still, like, it makes you feel good.
Yeah. Like, for me, even on my worst day, I'm still sitting in a studio working on music. So that's like, I'll take it. I don't care.
See, I need to be doing that too, because on my worst days, like, I might sit like in my podcast studio, but I'm not even in the studio on my worst days. And sometimes I'll just sit in here and listen to music and do nothing productive at all. Like, nothing at all. I won't be writing. I won't be thinking of new melodies. I won't be looking at beats. I won't be looking at, advertisements. I won't be looking at anything. I'll just be sitting here watching TV, doing nothing productive, binge watching Netflix, doing all of that. So it's kind of hard. I need to start. I mean, I've been doing really good about separating all that out lately, but to even just to do that, that's how you become a full-time person that does it. You have to do it on your worst days. You have to keep going. Like, you have to do, like, even if you're like, oh, I'm having a crappy day, you still have to do that podcast, because you still have to put out that content. You still have to make that sale,
Yeah, that's the thing for me. Like, if I can work on something at least once a day, I'm good. So it's like, I feel happy about being, productive, and I did something that day. So that's like I don't know. It's just it's really easy to get distracted, especially with all the cell phones and TV and everything that's happening. But it's like a lot of self-control. You just have to like sit down and focus and like put in the work. That's the only way to be successful, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I noticed too at one point when I was doing a lot of the music and I was really in the studio all the time recording and doing all that, I was bringing in too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen. I was bringing in way too many people. I had like 3 engineers. I mean, they weren't necessarily all on the same tracks and stuff like that. I'd separate them out. Like, I want this sound for this one, and I'll go to you for these tracks and stuff like that. But I was relying on way too many people. We started losing files. We lost probably a whole album. I've lost an album before, like all the files, all the stem files. I've lost a whole album. I've lost an EP. I've lost, thousands and thousands of dollars due to like my own errors and,
So how do you lose files? Like, did they just take like the hard drive and left? Never came back?
So I've had hard drives crash, and I mean, if you're a smart engineer, you back it up on, the cloud in like 3 other hard drives.
Yeah.
But we were doing so much stuff, and we were doing it so quickly and just the momentum of everything. We were backing up our files, but we started having, hard drives crash, files crash. We started having computers crash completely and
Oh,
having to try and, trace everything back. But luckily through some of the softwares, like I think Ableton, you were able to do it, I believe. Like if your PC crashed and you
yeah,
downloaded the Ableton and you got your access back into it, you could
yeah,
retrieve some of your files that were saved into there.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
if you can still do that, but we were relying on that for some of it. But
Mm-hmm.
in even the other studios I was going to, when I was going through some private producers, like I didn't see one of them for a year
Mm-hmm.
almost, but we had a whole EP that was like, like $2,000 invested into it. And, we're
Mm-hmm.
working on it. We're almost done. It's four or five, no, it's 5 songs that were on the EP. And I get
Mm-hmm.
there, he lost all the files except for one song. Now I can't do anything with this. Like now, and
Oh,
now all that investment is gone because I didn't back it up myself. Like, you backed it up on your file, but your hard drive all that crashed. And
yeah,
now you're
yeah,
coming in here with, blank files. And then I should have backed those up. I should have you have sent me those copies too. Like, I should have been
yeah, yeah,
smart
yeah.
about it.
Well, did you have a contract with him, or was it just like a friend's deal?
Mm. So not necessarily. It was like a friends deal. I did contracts with some, specific
Mm-hmm.
artists and stuff when I was doing stuff with Millennia Records, but we weren't really too contracted because a lot of us were friends, and that's how we all
Mm-hmm.
met. That's how we started it. So we weren't trying to necessarily bring lawyers and contracts into everything. But when I worked with some other people, I've had like contracts, like, the no disclosures and like you can't do this, like, and if you pull out of this, like you have to pay me my investment, or like
Mm-hmm.
you pay for my investment so I don't lose money, stuff like that. But most of the people I work with are like good friends of mine or people that I
Mm-hmm.
know through them. So I don't necessarily do too many contracts, but I've gotten to the point to where I was like specifically only that. Like even if you wanted to get like a verse from me, like I needed you to sign this and this is how we were
Yeah.
going to do it. And this is the, stuff like that. Like, you were going to pay for this and then you were going to have to pay me my fee and then I would pay for this, but you would have to pay your engineer for mixing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted mine to do it, I would have to get a fee off that too, stuff like that. But it got so complicated that I just stopped doing it. And then that's when
Yeah.
I just stopped working with, just random people at that point, because I had so
Mm-hmm.
many people screw me over, like, oh, go in the studio and record this hook. And that, be 120 in for the day,
Mm-hmm.
$120 down for the day. And nope, oh, we don't even need it now, we're good, we're just gonna record it ourselves. It's like, dude, you just wasted like hours of my time and you hit my
Oh.
pocket. Like, I mean, I know it's only like $120, but it's still like, dude, what do you even
Well,
mean?
yeah.
So
Money
like,
is money. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
money is
what it
money,
is.
especially like if you're gonna go into the studio a lot. Like, if I'm in there, with a private producer, if I'm in there a couple of days a week, and then I'm in my own studios with my producer and their
Mm-hmm.
engineers and shit. I mean, I didn't really necessarily have to pay for that because I was going in on studios with them, like investments and stuff like that. So I didn't have to pay, a lot of booth time or rentals like that. But when I was going through private producers and
Mm-hmm.
they started losing files and, started acting different, that's when I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, like in my case, I learned the hard way that I need to get a contract with every single person that I work with.
Yeah, and I was
Like if,
listening to that last
uh huh,
one when you were talking with Matthew on like the contracts. So I just wanted to touch up on this because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it was a serious question. So you get paid more if you play a live instrument than you did if you
yes,
just did it on your recording, and you
yeah,
have that imprinted in your contract.
yes, yes.
And so when you got your contract, you just got a contract and you got it so you could template it so you didn't have to have them rewrite it every time and you could just switch out a
Uh,
couple of things.
yeah, basically. So what I did
Okay.
when I got my first contract, I think I started doing contracts like after a third or a fourth gig. And then I saw like they sent me a contract and I kind of looked at it and I copy pasted it for my next gig. And then the other people they're like, what the fuck? Like doesn't make sense. So what I did, I took that contract and I hired like an attorney in music business for like $75 that basically
wow.
like rewrote the contract so it fits my needs and I can use that as a template like over and over and over and over and over again. The only thing I change is like the prices sometimes and the name of the company that I'm working for. Like that's the only thing that I change in contracts. Everything else is all the same.
See, that'd be nice, but like
Yeah.
that sounds like a lot of paperwork, and I would want,
Not
I
really,
would
not
want
really.
someone to do that for me, but unfortunately, you have to pay that person, and that just Yeah, I have to have like a mean income for that, but that's how you got to do it if you really want to make it. I guess that's how you really have to start it, is really just having to do it yourself until you get to that point to where you can have a whole team do it for you, and get them paid out.
Yeah, but like the guy that helped me, the attorney, he basically he did this little deal for me. So I only paid him 75 once, and that's it. But usually, I guess in real world, you have to pay him every single time, every time you get a contract. But I guess like he was also like not too big, but he was smart enough. Like he just got out of the university, like he got the PhD in whatever law, and he's going into the music business. So I was able to snatch him up before he got like bigger. So now the guy is like making 120K a year, being a legal whatever attorney, guy working for music business. But
oh wow,
yeah.
So you got a sweet deal then.
Yeah. I got lucky. I was able to snatch him up, real
Tell
quick.
him your friend needs one.
I know, right?
Sure. So
yeah, now I'm trying to talk to him, and he's like, he doesn't even talk to me. He's like, well, he works with like Kesha and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, whatever, bro. Like,
you're like, yeah, I don't have enough. I'm not gonna pay you a 3,000 retainer.
Yeah.
For any of this. Like, no way. So with your stuff, do you have to have like your BMI, your ASCAP, all your stuff for all that? So it's not anything different, as in like, because with like actors, I know you're not like an actor or anything, but with that type of industry, they have to have like their SAG and all that stuff. But with you don't have to have a SAG. You can just have like your ASCAP, BMI for royalties and stuff.
Yeah, I just use the ASCAP for the film composing and BMI for my other shit. So I have both.
So isn't it the same thing basically though? Because I have my BMI, but I was thinking about just getting ASCAP. But isn't it the same thing? Do I even need?
It's the same thing. Thing is like when I started with my real name, and then I changed to a stage name, which is Tim Blast. So like my real name is on BMI, Tim Blast is on ASCAP. That's how I did it. It's exactly the same thing. It's just I guess it was easier for me to like make a new one with Tim Blast, like that new name, rather than change the BMI one, which is like a lot of paperwork. Because Social Security is all the same, but it's just like it's all about the name difference. So that's why I have two. But yeah, they're exactly the same. They do the same exact thing. Like there's no difference.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering too. Because like when I first got into this industry, I mean I know you had to like get your stuff copyright and stuff like that, but I didn't realize all the other legal stuff that went into it. Like even one of my buddies that's a booking agent, I was just at his house one night. It was like one of like the first times I met him. He was just talking to me. He's like, you seem like a pretty smart kid. He's like, he's just giving me some ins and outs, and that's how actually I learned a lot from the industry, was from this guy. Yeah. But he was telling me, he's like, you got your BMI, your ASCAP, and I looked at him, I was like, what? He was like, do you have any of your stuff copywritten, anything licensed? I was like, what? I was like, no.
I know, there's a lot of paperwork,
investment to get all that done, and no, it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go through the copyright office. Like there is a copyright office in LA, so like every time I would work on something, I would bring like my like USB flash drive, and I would just like put it into the copyright office. Like that's kind of how it works, and it's so stupid, to be honest. But this, I don't know, like now I just use ASCAP, and this works. Like it's enough protection pretty much for your copyright. And as long as you have like email strings of all your like if people would I don't know, copy my work in some way, and I can just like go through small claims or whatever and basically sue them, because I have the ASCAP protection and I have all the emails that I sent the tracks to people, with the timestamps and stuff. So that's like enough protection. Yeah, like legally.
That's good. Because I need it. I was trying to get like I'm look into getting an ASCAP, but I was thinking of it because I'm mixing a lot of my music over with the podcast that I'm doing. Another booty licking track, shout out, ABLT. That's the podcast that I run. With that, I'm mixing a lot of my music over with it, and I bring on like a lot of people, like sound engineers, cameramen, all those types of people onto the podcast. So I'm literally looking to like start selling merch. So I have to start getting like TMs, like trademarks, and all this crazy stuff going, like a website, get my business license. I mean, not business license, but like the licensing for being able to do sales and affiliate marketing and all that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
So I need I'm thinking I might need an ASCAP to like cover the podcast, maybe. Or do you think I would need that for the podcast?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think you need ASCAP to copyright the podcast, because this way you'll get the royalties. For example, if your
Right.
podcast goes on like Oprah or something, right? Let's just say Oprah. And yeah, like you'll get royalties if you're registered with ASCAP. But if you're not registered, Oprah can just like directly like just DM you, right? And she's like, okay, Eric, like I'll pay you $3,000 for the podcast episode, and you can be like, oh, okay, $3,000, I'll take it. But you wouldn't think like oh, but if it goes on Oprah, it's actually going to be $30,000. So it's, I don't know, it's like it's extra protection.
It is. It kind of helps you not get like screwed with. I guess, in a sense, and it makes sure you get paid, because look at all the people on the platforms like Spotify. They had incidents where they weren't paying out artists, and they were like trying to hide streams, and they were trying to hide all like not necessarily data, but they were trying to fake numbers and not pay out certain big artists. And you know, even these big artists too. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have all this stuff, you know, the BMIs, the ASCAPs, and everything. So that's probably how they caught wind of all of it. And I think Spotify at one point, or I'm pretty sure it was Spotify, was about to get sued because they weren't paying out people. Like they were trying to hide
it's
stuff.
I think it was Spotify and Apple Music, both of them, because what they were trying to do is like they were supposed to pay like 0.002 cents per listen, something like that, but they were doing like 0.0013. And but like it sounds little, but like once you have a million, you know, listens, like whatever, like million plays on Spotify, like that's when it hits your bank. Like that's like a difference of $15,000 instead of like $25,000. So you know. Yeah. So I guess a lot of people caught it, and then Spotify paid it all off. I remember I was talking to this you know what's his name, I forgot, Shade 45. It's like he's one of the producers for Eminem. Like he did a bunch of tracks in late like 2000s, like 2010s for Eminem.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so he also has a podcast here in LA, and I did some voiceover work with him. And
nice.
I was talking to him like about it, how you know, when you're a producer, you get some kind of cut. Like you know how there is a breakdown of every song, every track. You have a like 45% goes to the artist, like 45 to producer, then 10 to the like it's all this weird, like you know how it's 50-50, like 50 is for the musicians, 50 is for the publisher, and that like first 50% is broken down into this little percentages on who worked on it, who didn't work on it. And I was asking Shade 45, I'm like dude, like so how much money, I mean not exactly how much money you're making, but like what's your percentage from all the Eminem tracks that you did? And he's like, well, it's only like 10%, even though he did most of the music, but he got screwed up by the label because he didn't know what the fuck was happening, you know, like in the early days, you know, and then he kind of got screwed up, and like, you know, the real Slim Shady, right? That track. Yeah. Huge, right? Like everybody knows that track, but he's getting like little percentage off of it, even though he's like the main guy who did it.
That's why, like, even if labels or whoever, or you know, just other investors start coming kind of for like what I'm doing, dude, I'm straight up like contracts and everything, dude. I want to have like my I want to talk to my dad, be like, dude, yeah, send me your lawyer, bro, like for real.
That's what you need to do.
Like, what are these worth it? Just go through it with them, be like, are these worth it? How much am I gonna get? You know.
Yeah, because it's always a good idea to look through the contract and let the lawyer also look through the contract. Because like I have had a 5 or 6 like really bad contracts that they didn't even look bad to me, but then once I gave him to my attorney to look over, like he's like, oh dude, you're getting screwed, like they're not gonna pay you anything from this, like you're gonna get like nothing. And I'm like, oh okay, so let's change it up. So then we change it, and then finally I'm getting paid. It's a thing, man. It's like music business, there's a lot of sharks out here that they try to prey on people that they don't know what the fuck they're doing, you know.
But that's why you see a lot of these artists fall off too, because you know the label will be like, oh, they'll throw a big number in their face for a deal, but they don't understand necessarily what they're signing. They don't understand that the label controls your releases, your music, your lyrics. Probably at that point, they own the rights to all your shit for the next like 5 years. You can't breach your contract, or else you are literally screwed. Like, you know, stuff like that. And a lot of these artists, they don't necessarily look at that, and they just think of that money and that number, and they don't realize that that's kind of an investment. It's not just like free and there. They don't get that.
Yeah, I know. Like a lot of people, they see that advance money, right? Like they just get the
Right.
cash in the hands and they think, okay, we can like go to bars and stuff. But no, it's actually like it's the money that you live on for the time being.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
No
people just
way.
spend it all like buy a car or something. I'm like, bro, like that's not how you spend your advance. Like, what are you gonna do when the label is gonna come after you and they're like, well, where is our record? Like, where's our stuff? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, here, let me. What was I thinking of? Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. So, like, I have a friend. She's in a band called X's, and she got signed up with the label that 21 Pilots are on it. I forgot which one. Was
Nice.
it Machine? Anyway, some label, whatever, right? So she basically at the beginning she got a little screwed by them, but then she was able to get out of it. But the thing is, she signed a contract that basically the label owns everything she produces, and everywhere she goes, like everywhere she sings, anything, like they own it for the
Wow.
next I think 5 to 10 years or something like that. But I remember like she got out of it somehow because like she got a bunch of lawyers and she finally got out of it. But like it took so much money to get out of it. But it was such a simple little contract that she just needed to read it through like 10 times to understand it. But she didn't do it. She was just so excited to get, signed to a big label, but they just like they screw people over.
And so a lot of them
Yeah.
do. So like even with the whole contract thing, I've had a lot of
Hmm.
friends that have worked for record labels, like big ones too, and have told me like what they go for, what they're looking for. And
Hmm.
honestly, I don't even care if it's Young Money Records or whoever offering me millions and millions of dollars.
Hmm.
I'm bringing that contract to like a professional because I want to know what the longevity of this is going to
Yeah.
be. I want to
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
is this going to be good for me 5 years down the road, or overall, am I just getting a couple million for 5 years and getting all my music taken from me? Is
Yeah.
that, or am I going to do this and build more and be able to, go out on my own and not have them under, everything that I'm doing?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
So
because with
it's really
this.
important to. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh no,
Keep
is
going.
it with like the merch sales and all that? Like,
Yeah.
so I've noticed, back then when nothing was really streamable,
Hmm.
you would rely on CD sales and stuff like that. That was actually a really heavy income, and since you
Hmm.
could stream everything, and a lot of these platforms aren't necessarily paying artists, and they can hide things, and you're not buying that mixtape, you're not buying that actual CD.
Hmm.
In a sense, I don't really see the point of the record label. Like, yeah, you could pay other artists for features, like pay my way into there for features. But other than that, like I could do that myself. I know plenty of people with really good studios that I can go into, get my work done privately, not have you own all of my shit. I can own all of
Hmm.
my stuff. And yeah, that advancement would be nice. But at the same time, like I got to think of like, what's my end game here? What
Oh
am I
yeah. Yeah.
really going for? Am I just going for the quick payout and that's it and kind of just figure it out after that? Or am I going like, I want to be one of the next people that are still here in 10 years and still
Yeah. Yeah.
relevant type of thing.
Yeah, that's what that was my thinking too. Like when I came into the music industry, I wanted to invest all of my money. Like I didn't really want to like bother other people or like go to labels directly.
Right.
I just always wanted to just like control what I'm producing, like control what I'm making. Because what happens when you are in a label, like they usually tell you what you have to make, like
Exactly.
yeah. So and you don't really have that like creative control of like if you want to suddenly change genres or something. But when you own your shit, eventually you can actually start your own label and your own like for example, for me right now, I have Tim Blast Productions. That's my publishing company. That
Mhm.
it's like I have that as a composer musician, I have one thing going, and then I have a publishing thing going too. So I own both 50% on each. But like I don't know. It kind of helps to just set it all up in the beginning. So for example, now when people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, you know, if you make like 10 tracks for us, whatever, we can publish them." I'm like, "Well, I don't need you to publish them. I can publish them myself." Like, if you can help me market them, that's a different thing. But like, don't
Mhm.
take the 50% of publishing because I just like,
I can do that.
yeah, I can
Yeah,
do that now. It's
right.
like,
If you want to help with advertisements and marketing
yeah,
and
yeah,
really getting this thing stretched globally, I mean, not even globally, just nation,
yeah.
wide. That point, like, yeah, okay, then we could talk. But if you're just
Hmm.
talking about getting it out there, I could do that. I could
Yeah,
publish it.
exactly.
I'm not going to
Eh,
pay you. in a necessary amount of money to do something I could do in a day or something, or depending on what kind of project it is.
Yeah, because publishing is like it's pretty easy, to be honest. You just submit the thing everywhere. It's not that hard to be a publisher. But really. Obviously the hard part that like publishers like the real big publishers, like part of their deal is marketing and advertising,
and content, and what they're doing. So I mean, anyone can publish anything, but if you want to be successful and be like good at it and have like a good hand at it, you gotta kind of in a sense know what you're doing, and you have to have like that good content that is going to catch their interest and be able to grab them. You got to have that content.
Let's see. I was gonna ask you something else. Let me. Do you have any more questions?
I think that's honestly it for right now that I have. I had quite a bit of questions.
So, there you go. So, with your podcast, do you post them on like Spotify? And I saw like a bunch of different websites, right? Because I listened to a couple of them on Spotify.
Yeah. So
how do you like? What do you use? Do you use like DistroKid or TuneCore to post them, or do you?
No, so I use Buzzsprout as my distributor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gotcha, for my music, I've used TuneCore and CD Baby. I've seen DistroKid though. I don't know. I haven't been on those sites enough to like really see if I should switch over or not. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm on, is Buzzsprout for the podcast distribution. So they'll post it everywhere for me.
Okay. So you just sent them like the WAV files and that's it, right? Like they just
I just upload it, and once I upload it, it uploads the MP3 or WAV or whatever file you want to put into it, and you type in the episode description notes and everything you want for people to see, and once you publish it, so after like the first time I publish an episode, they got my RSS feed for like all the platforms, and automatically it would pull it. So like within 24 hours of me publishing it through like the Buzzsprout website, and within 24 hours it would hit all the platforms. They would snag it off my website like through the RSS feed, and it would just directly link it to like Spotify or Apple or Google or whatever they call them.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I have to figure out now. Because I mean, I just recently started a podcast. This is the 5th episode, so I'm thinking like once I hit 10, then I'm just gonna like. Well, that's what I was thinking. So I was thinking to publish it as an album on Spotify, but I guess that's a stupid idea, huh?
I probably wouldn't publish it as an album on Spotify.
Right, like BlastCast Season 1 or something.
Yeah, people would be like, "What, dude?" They'd be like, "Wait, an album?" Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it as that.
No, yeah. So it's like it's better to just go episode by episode, I guess.
Yeah. So what are you doing with this? Is this go to YouTube and Twitch and?
Yeah, it's a Twitch, YouTube, and pretty much that's it so far. So once I have like 10, I'm gonna publish them everywhere, like Spotify, all those little spots. Yeah.
Are you gonna go through like a distributor, or are you just gonna try and do the upload on your own?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Yeah. So like, what's the company you're using? What is it? BuzzFeed? No, not BuzzFeed.
Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout. Okay, I gotta write it down.
Look up Buzzsprout.
Okay.
Podbean. I mean, there's a bunch of them, but those are like the two best that like a lot of people use for like their
hosting. A podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Buzzsprout. Yeah, I guess I'll have to just like look them up and see what works best for me. See what kind of deals they have and stuff.
Yeah, and if I know that like with the certain subscriptions that you do get, you can get like better analytics out of it. So say you go for like the gold where you do like unlimited hours a month, stuff like that, you can really break down your numbers. So like if you have like a lot of affiliate marketing or like a lot of sponsors or whatever, you could break down those numbers, and directly from there it'll be like, oh well, here's your numbers the last 7 days, and you could share it, or you could print off it off on a piece of paper and put it in like a binder or something, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I used to do from Instagram too. I remember like at some point I was really, really active on Instagram, and I kept getting like sponsorship deals from different music companies, like music libraries and stuff. And I don't know if you're familiar with Sound Iron.
No.
They do a lot of plugins for Pro Tools, and it's mostly like orchestral stuff, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So I got a bunch of deals through them, and I remember like I was able to use the insights, like the analytics from different like platforms like YouTube and Instagram and like the Spotify and stuff, and I was able to pitch the other companies, and they're like, well, So the way I did it was I kind of used that little thing that I got from Sound Iron, right? So I'm like, well, they are sponsoring me, so why don't you sponsor me? And then I kind of got this like ball roll and just basically just reaching out to all these companies trying to get free shit. And I ended up getting it. Like I actually, it's funny how it works. Like I always talked so much shit about social media, you know, like just when
do I.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you use it correctly, like with like a business mind, you know, like not as a dumbass, just like it actually works really well. Like, you know, you get so many companies because right now everybody's trying to invest in like influencers. I mean, I'm not calling myself an influencer, but I don't know, for some reason, like I had enough analytics, like enough numbers to show the companies to get like stuff for free, which is like great. And I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'm gonna keep going.
You're like, oh, I'm making a change. Like, I mean, people are pumped. Like, all right, I'll take free shit any day of the week.
Yeah,
that's what we were trying to do. So, like, when I was rapping with the label back then, we wanted to get like a tour bus. We were gonna get like a little tour bus, like an RV, and we were gonna try to get like these sponsors to wrap the whole tour bus. That's what our plan was. It never happened, but that's what our plan was. I mean, we're planning on getting like a bunch of like free stuff through this merch. Like, we were about to sign this deal with it's not a huge clothing line, but they were kind of popping off in Denver a little bit. What was it called? It was like Platinum Image or Platinum Image Express, something like that. It was Platinum Image. It was like basically the name, and they were supposed to be like sponsoring our music video shoots. We were going to start doing like clothing line and branding with them and like doing like a lot of stuff with them, and they randomly like bailed out at the last minute. And so that like, and then this is when everything like started like falling apart, like when we were like, you know, losing files and albums and shit. Like so like, you know, we were always having meetings. Like we were even in you know, huge studios doing meetings with people, you know, like trying to figure stuff out. Like, do I want to like work with you guys? Do I want to start recording here? What artists can you bring me? What kind of artists can I connect with if I record through you? You know, stuff like that. And little by little, we're losing this, we're losing content, and then, you know, everyone started pulling out, and then you know, the Platinum Image thing, we had like the clothing, I think that they're gone, they're out, and then now the music video shoots, that, I mean, we still had all the stuff we needed, but, you know, to have another brand in there, and especially like a clothing line, and, you know, to promote that and have that starting off as like a new thing for us and for Millennia Records and ETG and the whole brand and everything, it was great. And then it went down the shithole.
No, that sucks, bro. But I mean, I hope, you know, it's gonna catch up. You know.
Yeah, let's hope. I just got to keep putting in that work, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, the way I think about it is like, you know, you might lose a couple, you know, gigs, a couple sponsored deals here and there, but eventually you'll get them back. I mean, you'll get like a better ones at some point.
It's all about taking L's. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I got fired of a couple of film scoring jobs too, because I had this like big ego when I came into the business. I was just like, because the way it works, and you know, when you write music for film, they can easily just tell you that your music sucks, remake it, like make something better. But like, I don't know, like I had this ego. I'm like, what do you mean my music sucks? Like I put all my soul into it, right? But now I get it. Like now I'm like, yeah, whatever. I guess it sucks. I'll make a new track, whatever. But like, I got fired of like the third gig that I got, and then I was just like, oh man, like should I like keep going or should I just quit and just do something else? But I kept going, and eventually like I got better jobs, like, you know. So yeah, the trick is just like keep going, you know, just do your thing, don't give up. You know, that's what I always tell everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, taking losses. That's all the industry is, dude. And especially when you go into just the whole investment thing, like I'm pretty sure you've had to pay for all of like your own softwares and all that stuff. You haven't really, I mean, you might be able to be like, yo, on some of these contracts, if you have to do some weird, crazy shit, just like, hey, so in this contract, I'll do it, but you also have to pay me a fee to buy this software and stuff like that.
I've done it before. Yeah, I've done it. I'm like, well, I need this like drum library, even though I didn't use it. I mean, I used like a little bit of it, but I'm like, I need this stuff, right? And they're like, okay, we'll get it for you.
Well, we got you. And like, even so, back to the thing of like, how they're like, your music sucks and stuff like that, with the whole ego thing. It's hard to kind of notice how to separate the ego out from people, because a lot of people are going to have their shitty opinions. Honestly, if you think my music sucks, that is what it is. But if you're trying to sit here and tell me this is what I need to change, like tuning wise and mixing effect wise and all this stuff, like if you don't have a single clue of music theory or any of music production or anything, your opinion is strictly invalid to me. Like, I don't care. I mean, some people that don't really have that much, knowledge in this industry that I listen to, like some of my friends are like, you should really change this and this, and I can guarantee you, like, all these other people would love it, and stuff like that. I'll do like little mini changes, but for the most part, when people are like, oh, this shit sucks, it's like, dude, you probably don't even know how to press record on a track, and you're just over here doing what? Like,
I mean, I hear that a lot, especially like in film industry, because most of the work that I do is work for hire, right? Like they hire me as a composer, so that means I have to basically do what they ask me to do in a way. I mean, I still have my creative freedom to write my own music, obviously, right? So I'm making original music, but if they don't like it, then I just have to like remake it. Like the thing is, rarely I will tell producer no. I might tell him like, okay, I'll remake it, but I'll make like this slight little change that nothing really changes. Sometimes I'll send them the same track, and I'll be like, well, I changed a lot of things, and they're gonna be like, okay, perfect, because that just means it's a power trip thing. They just want to ask you to change something just because they're like the executive producer. They just want to put their little thing in the email string,
Yeah, so they can get a little clout.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird. You just have to know how, like who is who, and who knows what they're talking about, who doesn't know what they're talking about. And
you
it's
learn that quick, though, especially when you work with all these people. And if you work with them quite a bit, you kind of gather things about them. Like, this dude's full of shit.
I know, right? Yeah. All right. I think it's time to wrap it up, huh?
Oh yeah.
Or did you have any? Let's see. We got about 1 hour 15 minutes. That's a good time.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good one. That's a good one for sure.
But anyway, man. Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for coming. Okay. Shout out to your podcast. What is it called again?
It's going to be Another Booty Licking Track on all platforms except for, social media, it's Another Booty Licking Track, but Twitter, it's @bootytrack. And then our website is anotherbootylicinktrack.buzzsprout.com. And I'll send it out over to you too, so you can kind of check out what like the hosting website looks like and what the stuff you can do with them. So I'll send you that as well. So follow me. I'm EricTheGreat. I'm on all platforms for music. Suburban Savage Part 1, Part 2. I have a bunch of singles, of course, on SoundCloud. I've got music videos on YouTube. Just type in ETG, Run It Up, or Backwoods, or Whipping the Form, whatever. Check me out, guys. And thank you for having me on, Tim. I enjoyed this for sure. It was awesome.
All right, man. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and blast out.